On an ordinary day in 1966, a school bus left the St. Thomas Aquinas School in Great Kills, Staten Island, New York. It was carrying 41 children to their school, but this was no ordinary bus. And by the time it reached the corner of Richmond Road and Manor Road, neither the bus nor its passengers would ever be seen again. Before we get into this spooky story, be sure to like and subscribe for more scary videos. Also, stick around until the end of the video to hear our terrifying theory about what happened to the bus. It was 8:30 in the morning when the bus driver, Mrs. Helen Viola, left the school with the 41 children on board. The bus was old, but it was well maintained and it had recently undergone safety inspections. Other than the students from the school, there was only one other passenger on the bus, a nun who was sitting up front next to the driver. As the bus traveled along Richmond Road, a thick white fog began to form. Visibility dropped dramatically, and within seconds the world turned white. When the bus reached the corner of Richmond and Manor Roads, Mrs. Viola slowed down as she had to make a sharp turn. As the bus made the turn, a few students could have sworn they saw a house in the distance. However, that couldn't be possible as there were no houses anywhere near where they were. They all turned back to their seats as the bus continued on its route. When the bus reached the next intersection, Mrs. Viola turned on her hazard lights as she couldn't see clearly through the fog. She continued driving slowly and cautiously until she reached the end of the road. She then made another sharp turn, and that's when she realized that something wasn't right. She hadn't seen any cars or houses for miles, even though this was a well-populated area. She then remembered the students claiming to have seen a house, and she turned the bus around to go back and investigate. As she drove, she realized that the fog had become even thicker and visibility was now almost zero. She tried to keep calm and called over the radio for backup. But as she turned the bus around the corner, she realized that there was no road. The bus had disappeared. Mrs. Viola panicked and quickly put the bus into reverse. But the thick fog meant that she couldn't see where she was going. After a few minutes, she felt the bus hit something and she immediately stopped. She got out of the bus and walked to the back to check on the children. They were all coughing and spluttering, and some had even fainted. Mrs. Viola quickly ushered them off the bus and onto the road, telling them to start walking towards the school. After ensuring that the children were okay, she went back to the bus to try and figure out where they were. As she walked around the bus, she noticed a small opening in the fog. She walked towards it and saw that it led to a dirt road. She walked down the dirt road, still looking for a sign of civilization, but there was nothing there. She eventually came across a group of houses, and she quickly knocked on the nearest door. A man answered, and she asked if she was on private property. He told her that she was, and asked her what she was doing there. Mrs. Viola explained that she was looking for help, and asked if he could contact the police. The man agreed, and she waited on the porch for the police to arrive. Meanwhile, the children had started to make their way back to school, but they soon realized that they were being watched. A man in a trench coat was standing at the edge of the woods, and every time they stopped, he disappeared. They eventually made it back to the school safely, but nobody knew where the driver had gone or why the bus was missing. To this day, the bus has never been found, and many believe it simply vanished into thin air. What do you think happened to the bus? Let us know in the comments below. Now you need to watch what actually happened on the Bermuda Triangle. Or have a look at this.